Europe's energy dilemma. The secret talks that could change everything. The cold winds of winter are approaching, and with them, a geopolitical game that could redefine the balance of power. Hidden behind diplomatic curtains, European leaders are reconsidering their stance on energy dependence. Could the continent be on the brink of a major policy shift? While the West has long distanced itself from Russian resources, whispers of secret negotiations suggest a different reality. The stakes are enormous: economic survival versus political principles. But as factories shut down and energy prices soar, the question remains: will Europe turn back to its former supplier? The answer may already be taking shape beneath the surface, where the pipelines tell a different story. For years, Europe has tried to cut ties with Russian energy, reducing its dependence from 40% to just 10%. Yet, Denmark has now approved repairs to Nord Stream, and new reports suggest Brussels is debating renewed gas imports from Moscow in exchange for stability. The numbers tell a compelling story. Russia holds reserves of 1.7 trillion cubic meters, an economic weapon waiting to be deployed. Meanwhile, Germany and Hungary are pushing back against the hard stance, advocating for pragmatism. Could this mark the beginning of a new era, where energy security trumps political ideology? The situation is dire. Europe's once thriving industrial base is crumbling under the weight of energy shortages. Germany, once an economic powerhouse, now faces production cuts 3 times higher than those in the U.S. Reports indicate that industries from aluminum to steel are struggling to stay afloat. Without affordable energy, there is no industry, warn business leaders. The crisis extends beyond economics. Households across Europe are feeling the pressure of skyrocketing heating costs, pushing governments to reconsider their strategies. While Ukraine's leadership pushes for diplomatic resolutions, behind closed doors, European officials are discussing energy pragmatism. Hungary and Slovakia demand pipeline reopenings, while former U.S. leadership figures warn that Europe must act swiftly to secure its energy future. Even Washington is watching closely, threatening tariffs on European goods if the continent turns away from American liquefied natural gas in favor of cheaper alternatives. The dilemma is clear: bow to economic necessity or maintain a stance that could lead to further economic decline. A shift in policy is already evident. Data from 2023 reveals that, despite official sanctions, Europe imported 22 billion cubic meters of Russian LNG through indirect channels, a 40% increase since 2021. The message is clear. European businesses and governments are finding ways to keep the lights on, even if it means bending the rules. Greek traders, among others, openly admit to rerouting resources to avoid direct violations. The numbers are difficult to ignore, and so is the economic reality pressing down on policymakers. At the heart of the crisis lies the Nord Stream pipeline. Once considered a lost asset, discussions of repair and potential reactivation are growing louder. European energy reserves, which stood at 95% in 2022, have now dropped to 78%. With winter approaching, the numbers spell out an undeniable reality. Without external support, many regions could face severe shortages. Moscow is fully aware of the shifting tides. Russia's energy reserves continue to expand, standing as a silent yet powerful bargaining tool. European diplomats find themselves at a crossroads, forced to choose between resilience and ideological commitment. In Berlin, officials are weighing the economic benefits of a policy shift, while in Kiev, concerns grow over the potential consequences of renewed European reliance on Russian resources. Public sentiment is also shifting. Protests across European cities reflect growing frustration over energy policies. Voters are prioritizing affordability over political alignments, pressuring governments to find solutions before winter sets in. Business leaders warn of potential economic disaster if industries continue to shut down due to high energy costs. The question remains: How long can political leaders resist the pressure of economic survival? Analysts predict a gradual return to Russian energy reliance. By 2026, reports suggest Russia could reclaim 25% of its former European market. The rise of energy black markets and indirect trade routes highlights a growing trend. Sanctions are becoming increasingly ineffective as businesses and governments find alternative ways to secure resources. The once clear lines of economic policy are blurring, replaced by a complex web of negotiations and strategic maneuvering. Europe's energy future is at a tipping point. The continent faces a choice between maintaining its stance against Russian imports or prioritizing economic stability. As factories struggle, industries shut down, and household energy costs climb, the urgency of a solution becomes more pressing. The quiet discussions behind closed doors may soon turn into formal agreements, marking a significant shift in geopolitical alliances. The global implications are vast. If Europe reopens its doors to Russian energy, it could reshape international economic policies, alter alliances, and change the future of energy security worldwide. While Washington pushes for continued dependence on American resources, European nations are increasingly looking toward their own survival. Moscow watches and waits, knowing that time and necessity are on its side. The coming months will reveal whether pragmatism prevails over ideology. One thing is certain: the energy game is far from over. The pipelines are still there waiting. And as winter closes in, Europe must decide: freeze or adapt. If you found this analysis insightful, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on global energy trends. What do you think? Should Europe prioritize economic stability over political principles? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to check out our next video, where we explore how shifting energy policies could impact the global economy. Stay informed, stay ahead.